One day, Plato was teaching among his students when a man suddenly stood up and began to argue with him. The man shouted, insulted, and even accused Plato, trying to humiliate him in front of everyone. The students became angry and expected Plato to respond sharply or at least have the man removed. But Plato remained calm, smiled gently, and said nothing. After the man left, the students asked, "Master, why didn't you answer him? Weren't his words offensive?" Plato calmly replied, "If someone brings you a gift and you refuse to accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The students answered, "Of course, it remains with the one who brought it." Plato said, "Exactly. Insults and rudeness are the same. I did not accept them, so they still belong to him." Friends, today we will talk about this story and try to answer the question, is it always true that insults and rudeness are the same? A person sometimes needs to express himself, to throw out his aggression, and society often perceives this as rudeness. Rudeness can be intentional or unintentional. Sometimes we do not consider how our words can affect another person, and sometimes do not realize that we are hurting him. But in any case, there is always a fine line between justified expression of oneself and intentional offense. So let's figure it out. Is it always okay to call a spade a spade? In the story, the man clearly acted intentionally. He came to the lecture specifically to argue with Plato and provoke him. This behavior is unacceptable, and such people only want one thing: to attract attention to themselves. In real life, such people are quite common. There are many of them on the internet. You can find them in social networks. Such people are called trolls. They deliberately provoke, annoy, try to get a rise out of others, and cause a scandal. It's good if we can ignore them, but often it's just impossible. And here it is important to know how to behave. Well, first of all, you should not give in to provocations and stoop to the level of the provocateur. You should not waste your time and energy on this. As Plato did, you can simply ignore the person completely and not even pay attention to his words. The best revenge is ignoring those who hate you. In general, hatred is the highest form of admiration. When you hate someone, it means that you pay too much attention to this person. So haters only need one thing: your reaction. Do not give it to them. Remember, a person who constantly provokes you is only an indicator of your own hypersensitivity. But what if you can't just ignore the situation? Let's take, for example, a person from your work who constantly shouts at you, offends you, and humiliates you in every possible way. Or a situation on the roads where a person is trying to provoke you to a conflict. What to do in this case? How to behave? Here the main thing is not to keep everything inside yourself. Some people think that they should endure everything and not show their emotions because they consider this behavior to be correct. However, this is a big misconception. Suppressing emotions is dangerous for your mental health. You must learn how to express your emotions correctly. Emotions are our energy, and if you do not allow yourself to express your emotions, then they will come out in a different way. Perhaps you will start getting sick more often, or some kind of psychosomatic disease may develop over time. Therefore, it is important to learn how to express your emotions correctly. The second important rule is not to keep silent either. Many women suffer in their relationships because they think they shouldn't say anything bad about their man. Well, you should not remain silent and endure if you are being treated badly. In any case, you must speak up and tell the person about his behavior. Of course, this does not mean that you should start shouting and making scandals. You should speak calmly and politely, explain how you feel. If the person is really dear to you, he will definitely appreciate it and try to change his behavior. If the person doesn't care, then you have no other choice but to end the relationship. So we figured out that it is sometimes necessary to express our emotions. At the same time, we must remain human and not stoop to the level of a person who provokes us. We must be able to defend ourselves without aggression and hatred, but at the same time be strong and calm. Only in this way we can be truly strong and wise. Friends, that's all for today. Rate this story and share your opinions in the comments. See you soon. Bye.